Hi, hello, good evening. My name is Anja Milosavljević, and I'm going to be your host today in this Mondopreneur podcast we are doing. And the main aim of this podcast is to share stories of successful ladies in business, and mainly ladies in business, just to hear how they live, how they cope with the situation we are all living in right now, and what is the state of entrepreneurship in their countries, and what is their state doing to promote and help to improve the state of entrepreneurship. So today my guest is going to be Fatine. She comes from Morocco. And whenever we think in Serbia, or whenever I think of Morocco, I think of spices, and I think of Sahara, and I think of a movie, Casablanca. So Fatine, hello, how are you?
Hello, Sandra, how are you?
I'm fine, and I'm so excited to speak to you, to see you. And as we spoke earlier, it's just like we haven't seen for a year and a half. And this conversation is like we've seen or spoke yesterday, and then today we are just continuing where we stopped the previous day. So thank you for accepting my invitation to participate in this podcast. I think that you have very interesting story as a person and as a businesswoman. Can you tell us something more about yourself? What do you do? What is your educational background? And where is your focus right now?
Thank you, Sandra, for your invitation. I'm really pleased to participate to Mondopreneur or Mondopreneur. So it's like the word and the entrepreneur, right?
Yes. That's the idea.
Okay. Thank you for the invitation. So let me introduce myself quickly. My name is Fatine Mouline. I hold a bachelor and a master degree from a Moroccan university, but mainly English speaker university. I got my bachelor and master in engineering and management sciences, and I worked right after my graduation in Toyota, so in the automobile world. Then I became consultant in a consulting firm, so working mainly with the public institutions and managing their strategies and their organizing strategies, maybe HR, communications. And recently, I hold an expertise certificate in gender. So I'm expert in gender equality, and I work with several international organizations and several Moroccan firms as well to implement their gender strategies. Recently, and right after I met you, Sandra, in the US, so after our IVLP program, I decided to dive into entrepreneurship experience, and I've always been dreaming of working in retail and having something for me in retail. So since I'm very passionate about decoration and design, and having a cute house, I opened a franchise in Morocco. Its name is Madame Coco, and since November 2019, and it's our first store in Africa, and it's first store in Morocco also. And I'm trying to expand this business as much as I can, but I keep my consulting services in parallel. So I have both now.
That's quite a lot. How do you manage all of that? I mean, I know that you are also a mom, so you are responsible and you have to share time with your children. But how do you manage all that?
I cannot tell you that it's easy. It's very, very difficult. I confess that I didn't see my kids when I opened the store, for almost 2 months. I go out from home at 7 or 6:30 and I go back at midnight. So it was crazy. But now I'm really, really happy to have my own business, and the one I really dreamed of. Because having something that we like and ordering something that we like that we share with people is particular. The consulting services is good as well. I like it. It's not something where I get or something that I can get rid of, because it's always a new experience, always a new project. And I know that like I'm defending a very nice cause, which is women equality with men. So both of them, I like them, and I try to manage to have an equilibrium in my life with, of course, having the kids and my family as well as a third component.
I know it's very difficult when I speak to my friends that either work somewhere or they run their own businesses. There is always a lack of time for themselves. Because they work and their wives and their mothers, especially in Serbia, when we speak about parenthood, we actually mean motherhood, because mothers are the ones that are raising children. So most of the time they complain that they don't have time for themselves. When they finish all the work, because one day lasts for 24 hours, so it can be very challenging. And without any kind of challenges like pandemic or something worse from that, just being a busy woman and mom can be very tough and very harsh. So let's start with this COVID. It happened suddenly, and it happened. It's happening all over the world. So it's not something that happened, I don't know, in China. Then we had 2 years to see what is happening and how the things are developing, and we can be smart, because this is something that is happening simultaneously all over the world. What is the situation in Morocco?
So actually, the COVID-19 is an event that like impacted all the world, so the whole world, economically, but also socially. Morocco has been impacted as well. Many businesses have been impacted, like all of the other countries. And as you said, we didn't have time to prepare, so it was like a surprise for us. And the virus has spread over the world, and we were just trying to find how can we deal with this. So I would say that Morocco was in the beginning of the COVID crisis was the very good example of managing this crisis. Under the foresight of His Majesty the King Mohammed VI, we tried, under his decisions, of course, they decided on the lockdown since mid-March. So at the beginning of the crisis, when we found I think 2 or 3 cases, we locked down the whole country. So I would say that the king preferred the health of the citizens than the economy. And it was a really good decision, because, Morocco has, good infrastructures in health, but not really developed. So we tried to manage this crisis by first locking down, then trying to develop in our infrastructures. So the industrial part was very, I would say, excellent in managing this crisis, because many manufacturing firms, especially, for example, in aeronautic or in other industrial sectors, they transform their manufacturing firms to, for example, producing masks or respiration machines. So we were very agile. We adapt to the crisis at a very good speed, And for example, in Morocco, like after 10 days of the lockdown, everyone was obliged to put a mask. So we had the obligation to put a mask, and the masks were available in the supermarkets, in the small shops. You can find masks anywhere, not like other countries where it was very, very difficult to find a mask. The same thing for hospitals. We built a particular, and I would say, military hospitals in several cities to receive sick people with very high respiration machines. So I think that Morocco managed, especially in the beginning, very, very good the crisis. Economically, we have very nice initiatives. So His Majesty the King put a fund, a COVID fund, to help not only entrepreneurs but also employees, and especially people who are not working and having their families. So this COVID has seen the participation of entrepreneurs, of public institutions, of people like independent people. And I think we had more than 34 million euros in this fund. And people who lost their job, or whom they stopped their jobs, they got a salary, well, a small salary, but at least they got something from the government, as well as people who are working in the informal sector or non-formal sector. So they got like a help from the government from this fund. So I think that this part was very, very well managed. Another part of this crisis was helping companies, especially companies whom they have like specific expenses like rent or other expenses to get some money to survive. So we had an initiative called Oxygen. So it's like oxygen.
Nice choice of a word, yes.
Of the word, exactly. Where companies can go to a bank and ask for a loan, and they can like give back the loan for several years. So I think we got very, very nice initiatives on this side. Now, it's true that after the lockdown stopped like by mid-June, and the number of cases started
to rise again.
Yeah.
So
dramatically.
How are you dealing with this new situation?
Yeah, just to give you an idea about the numbers, so we moved from 100 cases to 1,000 or 2,000 cases a day. So it's like very, very big changes. Now, after we opened we removed or we go over this lockdown, the government tried to see where we have many cases. For example, if we take the capital city, if we have, for example, I would say 200 cases, then we will lock down only the city or only the neighborhood. So we were trying to localize the virus and to avoid impacting the economy of the whole country. So many cities are working normally, till one of them is having like a huge rise of the COVID cases, then we stop this city from working, and so on and so forth. It's difficult to manage. I know that the government, they have a commission for this called the Comité de Veille économique. So, and they are like managing and overseeing the pandemic closely.
So, when this thing happened and you locked down the country, did that affect tourism? Because people from Serbia like to travel to Morocco for a vacation or for a holiday or whatever. So do you rely on tourism a lot? And is that in connection with the rise of the new cases? Because you said you opened in mid-June, and that is something that's the beginning of a holiday season for European countries. So do they overlap?
No,
Or
actually,
is not in connection?
No, we didn't open the borders. So the borders are still locked till now.
Okay.
So only the movements from one city to another ones were allowed, and people were allowed to get back to work, and the restaurants were opened again, and the coffee shops, and because in the beginning all the restaurants were closed, all the shops were closed. Now after mid-June, all the shops opened, the restaurants opened, the economy started to live again, but the borders were still closed. However, we received the Moroccans who are living abroad or those who were stuck abroad. So we received them, but the condition to get back in Morocco was to have a PCR test. So a COVID test, and the test, of course, it should be negative to get in Morocco. For tourism, yes, it was really impacted. I can tell you that many people lost their jobs, many hotels closed, for sure. Several hotels lived just by internal tourism, so only Moroccan who were traveling intra-cities, who were really giving life to these hotels. But, the sector, yes, it was really impacted. Now the government put a fund for this, and it's like they extend the help for the tourism sector employees, so that they won't stay with €0 in their pockets, but at least having a minimum wage for them.
What is the minimum wage in Morocco?
It's around €250.
That's not much, but it's similar. It's similar in Serbia. Yeah, I know. What about those industries or sectors that are connected to tourism? Like if I own a dry cleaning service and I work with a hotel and I wash their, I don't know, towels and bathrobes, or agro-industry when I'm supplier of a food and drink for hotel or restaurants, what happened to them? Did they transform in a way, or did they also suffered a lot?
Yeah, as I told you before, Moroccan showed a particular, I would say, characteristic, which is agile first and adaptation. So they adapted to the current situation, and resilience. It's important to talk about resilience people. So, and here, the agriculture, it consists or counts for 40% of the GDP, the Moroccan GDP. And in the beginning of the crisis, there was panic. We want to find food. We need to buy so much food and stock food. People are buying hundreds of yogurts. It's World War II.
I know. It was the same in Serbia, buying toilet paper and canned food. Yeah. Everyone was buying that. Yeah.
Exactly. So having flour, yogurts, milk, lens. Sugar, the most important components, having them at home. But the government had a very good communication campaign, and just to ensure Moroccan people that we are a country of agriculture, and we are producing so many food and grocery, goods. So stop doing this, you will find whatever you want.
Yeah, I know.
And it's true. Frankly, whenever you go into the supermarkets, you can find whatever you want. What we have done, we stopped importing specific butters, specific creams, specific pasta. Even I know that you're producing pasta, but we try to eat and buy local, which is very good. So the Moroccan people started selling more into the local markets and adapting their offer to the local markets. So I think that even for people, for example, who have cleaning shops, who used to work with hotels, now they started working with hospitals. You see, to clean the sheets, change the towels, and so on. So I think that the Ministry of Industry and Commerce did a really good job on this campaign, as well as the commission of the country.We économique, where several stakeholders took part of this commission from different ministries, like the finance one, the industrial one, the social one, and so many other ministries, departments, governmental departments. They did a really, really good job. So, yes, we adapted our offer to the local needs, but some sectors like tourism, I know that they suffer a lot.
I know it's the same in Serbia. Not just the local tourism in Serbia, but we don't travel that much in Serbia. We travel outside of the borders. So many tourist agencies and people in tourist sector or service sector just suffered a lot. Can you tell us something about the state of entrepreneurship in Morocco? I don't have any information or any idea. Do you have startups? Do you have hubs? Do you have small-scale businesses? How are they organized? Where do they place their products? Do they use, social media to place their products?
Yeah. So actually, the state of entrepreneurship in Morocco has evolved during this, I would say, last decade. We had so many very, very nice initiatives from either local organizations or international ones to help entrepreneurship in Morocco. So we have incubators in different universities. We have so many technoparks. So the parks to receive startups, and so many startups were really success stories in Morocco, and we have some funds to finance all this. So whenever an entrepreneur wants to present a very good idea with a good business plan and with good, I would say, arguments, we have an agency that can receive this, study the project with the businessman or woman, and help him into the, I would say, the realization of his dream. However, it should be a really defendable project, with defendable project, and the entrepreneur should have like a minimum assets, not necessarily financial, but at least a good realization that is already proven, I would say.
That's interesting because, sorry, but I really don't have any idea. Because most of all, I live in my own bubble. and I look at, I don't know, Western countries or the States to see what are the new models and how to, let's say, innovate or improve my business. But it's not something that I'm proud of, but I don't know anything about the state of entrepreneurship in Morocco, and I'm very glad that you to hear what you said now. Is there any particular sector or industry that startups are interested for, like IT sector or agro-food or something like that? Or is it diverse? Is it just different?
I think that the IT is playing like the big part of occupying the big part of the market, but we have also the very small businesses like cooperatives that are using like local products and selling and transforming local products. We started to have like an important percentage in this map. And just for you to know, I can tell you that in Morocco, we can count around 1.8 million companies.
Really?
Yeah, 1.8 million registered companies in Morocco.
And how many citizens are there in Morocco?
34
million.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a huge number. I'm so surprised now.
It's a huge number, and I can surprise you also. Only 10 to 12% are managed or created by women. So
how come? Why is that? Is it? I mean, the low numbers of women running their own businesses is something that is similar in Europe. We have, I don't know, 20 to 25% of companies that are run or led by or managed by women. What's the situation in Morocco?
In Morocco, I cannot tell you why exactly, but what I can tell you is that we have never monitored the women participation into entrepreneurship. You see? So we never had like actions to encourage women to be a real entrepreneur. Whenever we talk about entrepreneur, it's for us by culture is a man. You see, it's the man we have a man that goes to work and he needs to feed the family, and it's mainly cultural. But now with the new programs that are running and new initiatives, I can tell you that the government is like doing a huge effort to change the mindset. You see? Yeah,
sorry, continue.
Yes. For example, the Ministry of Finance is having a project which is called like gender-based budgeting, and it's making sure that in all the sectors we monitor the women participation. And if it is low, why? Should we like train more women? Should we help them financing more projects? Should we train them to manage, to have a work-life balance? So you see, when we start looking into the numbers, then we said, oops, how come that women are not really present in the entrepreneur map, you see?
Wow, that's good, because something similar is actually happening right now in Serbia, like the gender-based budgeting, and I think that UNDP is doing that project or running that. I think it's part of their project. So basically, we then have the same cultural base, because also in Serbia or in Balkans, women are less in business, but once they decide to run their own businesses, they actually the success rate is greater than the businesses that men start, because once the woman is determined to run her business. She's cautious and she takes her steps step by step, so baby steps, and she doesn't, I don't know, go to the bank and take a huge loan.
Right.
She does everything with caution, and that's why most of their businesses survive on longer run.
Yeah.
So, but it's similar here. We are also living in a men's world, and it's very hard to compete with that.
Exactly.
It's an anecdote, but I like to tell that anecdote. Like, men easily get in contact, and they easily broaden their network of associates.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I was about to tell you. Yeah.
So it's the same in Morocco.
It's the same. I actually, as I said before, I helped so many Moroccan organizations to have implement their gender diversity policy, and I conducted many focus groups with different kind of women, so blue collars, white collars, managers, beginners, newly recruited freshmen, senior bankers, and the feedback was almost the same, is that women, when they finish their job or their work at 5, they go home to take care of the kids. Men, when they finish at 5, they go to the coffee or to the restaurants to socialize. So it's a culture,
I know.
It's a culture. The same thing here, but now, since we knew what's the problem, people are trying to make some changes, and they are trying to push in women to help them having their own businesses. I read somewhere, I don't remember, it was a report that says, for example, when a woman read a job description or a job announced, and she found that, for example, this job description matches 80% of her profile, she does not send her CV.
Why?
However, when a man sees this job description, even if it does not match at all his profile, even if it's 50%, matching his profile, he will send his CV.
Why do we do that?
I think we have some blocking.
Auto-censorship, yeah.
Maybe, yes. Or we are so perfectionists, we want everything to be perfect. So this profile, I'm still missing one sentence. No, I cannot send my CV,
I know.
Yeah. I think it started changing now, and we have in Morocco different initiatives. I personally participated in so many initiatives here in Morocco for economic inclusion of women. So I implemented a program called My Situation, in Arabic, Wad'iyati, here in Morocco, that it was financed by the US Department of Labor, and its main objective was to help women integrate the professional environment, and not only integrate the professional, of course, environment, but also to get promoted and to have some leadership skills and some good managerial skills. I participated also to a program called EconoWin. So whenever women win, economies win as well.
Perfect.
It was implemented by the GIZ, and so the German corporation, and we helped at least 15 firms to have their own gender policies. And I'm part of many networks of women here in Morocco to just spread the idea and spread the interest around the gender equality. And really, I think that things are changing now.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that. Do you have any idea or any information in which sectors women usually open their businesses? Like, I know many women that run their own businesses in Serbia, but they're mostly in the food industry or in some crafts, like, I don't know, clothes or bags, or they're sewing bags and making clothes, designing clothes. But for the, I don't know, auto industry, metal industry, or something like IT industry, most of them, and the money is in that sectors. Companies are run by men. What's the situation in Morocco? What do women choose to profile their businesses?
In Morocco, it's mainly service companies. So, for example, communication agency, consulting firms, mainly services, or banks. They work a lot in banks, so services for banks, for example, but less in food and less in textile, because the biggest textile companies here in Morocco are run by men. And the same thing for food industry and agriculture. However, the sector of cooperatives, so very, very small businesses, they are mainly run by women. So when I say cooperatives, it's mainly like local products, so argan oil, some saffron, very really products that need transformation first by hand. So
where do you see do you actually see the role of media in transforming the society to a more gender equal society? Who is responsible? Is it schools and universities? Is it policymakers and government? Or is it media? Or is it the synergy of those three sectors?
Of course, it's the synergy of all the sectors, because it starts first from education. So we need to educate our girls and boys to equal chances. When we say equality, it's mainly equal chances. When we want a job, we need men and women need to have like equal chances to get to a job. So it's education, of course. It's the help of the government, because you need to install some monitoring and evaluation indicators to follow the evolution and the inclusion of women and men, and also the women themselves. We need to work on ourselves as well, and don't say that no, I cannot do it. It's too difficult. I will leave the father manage this. It's okay. The husband. No, we need to take the initiative and say, well, I have the same chances as men, and try to change it. For the media, yes, the media can help as well. I can share with you a very nice initiative here in Morocco. We have two main channels. One of them installed an initiative called Women Experts in Africa. And this initiative helped, among its objectives, they have one objective is to select the best companies that do the best ad on TV, including men and women. And for example, when they did the ad of, the soap we used to wash, glasses and bowls and plates, they use a man to watch this. So it was a very nice idea. But for us, and especially in Morocco, it's always women who do this job.
Of course. What was the reaction to that commercial? To see men washing dishes?
Well, first this company got a prize from the local channel, and people like this ad because it was very sensitive. The guy who washed the dishes was doing this because of to help his wife, and then his mom came. I think that it will raise awareness within the society. So it was a good thing, and I think that it was well perceived. That's why they got this prize.
Perfect. Because in my opinion, if we are talking about the gender equality, it's not enough to educate women. We have to educate men also.
Men as well, of course.
Yeah, because if you just put an effort to educate women, they are still going to go out into the world, and they're going to encounter with the reality, and that is that it's still the men's world. So we have to educate both sides, not just the women. But mainly focus should be on women, because sometimes, as you said, we don't take care of ourselves. We just let go some things to just go as they are. So do you have any kind of message to the world and to the people in Serbia? What would you say regarding COVID, regarding your life, regarding your business, whatever you like?
What I would say, it's like my motto. We need to seize the crisis and raise the opportunity, you see, and try to get the opportunity from a crisis. That's the only way to get out from a crisis. And I mean, this phrase, we should use it even in our normal life, even before, because our normal life has so many complications and has so many obstacles and has so many problems that we cannot, always have an opportunity. We will always have problems. So we need to seize these problems and try to get some opportunity from them. That's my main message to all, to Serbian people, of course, and all the world.
Thank you, Fatine. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed our conversation. You have so many knowledge and expertise, and I think it's really good thing to actually hear your voice, because most of my friends think of Morocco as a patriarch country, and we have prejudice regarding African countries. So I think this is a good way to start destroying those prejudices. I think they are just an obstacle in our mutual understanding and maybe developing some new kind of relationships. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time, and thank you for accepting my invitation to participate in this Mondopreneur podcast.
Thank you, Sandra, for the invitation. I really appreciate, and don't hesitate to call me again to share with you more ideas, more initiatives, and get more from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This was a conversation with my friend Fatine. She's from Morocco. And if you like, you can always follow us on social media like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and you can always subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can listen to us on SoundCloud and Spotify. So stay good and stay in, stay in good health. And see you in a week.